Okay, I'm going to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah, Quadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach the Bible in 100% truth, and Shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, starting with the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in the land of North, Central, and South America, as well as the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners living amongst the other nations. Shalom to you. Okay, today I'm going to go back into the chapter, the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 5. In the previous video, I did touch on the first verse, and the whole chapter is full of a lot of information. There's a lot going on, so would have been too long to bring out in the previous video. So I thought I'd just run through the chapter itself. There's about 50 odd verses, so what I'll probably do is hit half today, and Lord willing, tonight or tomorrow morning I can come back with the second half. This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 5. Now we've gone to the Apocrypha for this. The Apocrypha is part of the Bible that was removed, and it was done obviously to create, if you like, misinformation, to create a thing where we don't know our true identities. It makes it harder for us to trace our origins by going through the Bible and then being able to go through the Apocrypha. So if you look up a thing called the Bible, the Biblical Destruction Group, you'll discover that they had the books that are within the Apocrypha removed from the Bible itself, and they believe that these particular writings aren't inspired of the Most High. Yet you have Ezra's in the Apocrypha, and you also have Ezra's in the main Bible itself. Now, when you go to the main Bible, what you'll find when you come across the two, for example, you'll find Ezra, E-Z-R-A, or Esdras, E-S-D-R-A-S. And the reason why they use different ways to write the same name, one in the Apocrypha and one in the actual Bible itself, is to distinguish between the two writings, yet it's the same person. So, how is it that, 1 minute you're going to listen to a man and say, yeah, this guy's inspired by the Most High, but the next writing you're going to say, well, nah, I don't think he is inspired by the Most High. Who are these people that, made this choice? Who are they to choose? If you're going to say this person is inspired of the Most High, and then you're going to, and somebody is on the status of Ezra's, if one thing he says is inspired of the Most High, then another thing that he writes down must be also inspired of the Most High. Yet, they had it removed. And obviously, coming back to this truth, coming back to the remembrance of who we are, you need a Bible. You also need an Apocrypha. This is the hidden, missing part. And I believe the word Apocrypha goes to hidden writings. And so this goes into a section of the Bible that was removed. Ultimately, when we went through the transatlantic slave trade, we were not allowed to read. And so, ultimately this takes our identity away from us, and it keeps us without knowing. And in the meantime, these Edomites that have had us in captivity over the last 500 years, they use the fact that the Bible creates fear within us to control us. So they removed, the Apocrypha. They then rewrite the story of the Most High, iconoclasm, change the images, and portray a different message, and then teach us back our own identity through Christianity. That's why, fast forward to today, many of our people, they claim to be Christian, but then really it doesn't affect their lives, because it's not actually a true identity. It's something that's just made up to keep somebody occupied while, thinking that he has an identity, but he doesn't. In my Bible, I actually have fortunate enough to have the Apocrypha, if you like, built into the Bible, so I didn't have to buy two. I just have one Bible which actually contains and the books of the Apocrypha in there. So this is Second Ezra. This is from the Apocrypha, chapter 5, and we're going to run through it and see what it means. As the first verse is, nevertheless, it's coming the tokens. Behold, the days shall come, that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. So, we're in that time now where, the land is barren of faith. Many years ago, people, lived their lives based around the type of religion, the type of worship that they believed in. Whether it be a false god or true power, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, then there were more people doing that. But nowadays, with the way that the propaganda is pushed through the TV, the way that people are influenced through witchcraft, and people have new types of worship, and these worships go into music, football, and science, and so on and so forth. So people have left the religion alone and moved forward into other areas. And so, we're bringing back the truth of an understanding of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai to our people. And what we're finding is that these people, they're lacking faith. And there's a lot of people that, like I said before, they claim to be Hebrew Israelites. And, they like the idea of it and what it entails. Yet they don't have the spirit, they don't have the faith. They never actually sat down and studied the scriptures deep enough to build up the faith. You have to go through the details in the book to reaffirm the so-called faith that you have. And so if you're not doing that, you say you have faith, you say you call on the names Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, but when it comes down to it, when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, you haven't built up enough experiences by going through the Bible, through the scriptures, and then practicing the way in which it asks you to move. So this all leads to a lack of faith. It says, they that dwell on earth will be taken in great number. So there'll be great death, and this is going to escalate in the time of Jacob's trouble, and especially on the day of the Lord. It says the way of the truth shall be hidden. So that's why we're having to come out here and bring you these scriptures and break them down correctly. There are thousands, if not millions, of other YouTube videos of people of other faiths that are trying to break down these scriptures, and especially when it comes to prophecy, they're not able to do it. And that's why we're here. We're bringing you the understanding of prophecy, the secrets of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, and that's why we call this the truth. It says, but iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, and that thou hast heard long ago. Because these, the prophets that are spoken in these scriptures have told us of these troubles from long ago and what to expect, and the trouble that comes towards the latter days, the end times, the very, very latter days, especially when it comes through Jacob's trouble and the day of the Lord, World War III destruction. So we've heard of these troubles long ago, and since then till now, iniquity has been increased. And when you look around the earth today, people are full of iniquity, idolatry, adultery, and much other wickedness. It's people, their daily lives are filled with wickedness. Even the normal plain Joe that's living his life, doing a 9 to 5, there's wickedness within that lifestyle. It's everywhere. It's abound, and that's how we know. Getting to those very last days. It says, and the land that thou seest now to have root, shall thou see wasted suddenly. Now this represents America, Babylon the Great. It says that the land which thou seest now to have root. So America, it's a nation on its own. Yet through the beast system, through what's described in the book of Revelation, that beast system, America is able to influence all around the world. And that's why America have a base, either a NATO base or so on and so forth, in many countries around the world. So America is like a plant, and it has roots, and these roots have grown and established themselves in all corners of the earth. So wherever people are living their lives, in those four corners of the earth, they're still influenced by that Babylon the Great, that great whore America, which rides that beast system. And this is that land which now to have root. It says, shall thou see suddenly wasted. So for a whole country to be suddenly wasted, there's only one particular item that can do that, and that is a nuclear ICBM, many of them, multiple, and that will happen in the day of the Lord. That's what's been described here. Verse 4 says, but if the Most High grant thee to live, thou shalt see after the third trumpet that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. So, if the Most High grants you to live, you're a member of the elect, and you'll live through this destruction. And what you're witnessing is a turning upside down of understanding. It says here that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. So we know that the sun and the moon represents wisdom and understanding. And at the minute, the world, the society that we live in has a particular understanding, and that is all going to be turned on its head, especially through Jacob's trouble and through the destruction. The things that people fall back on to save themselves in this current society are not going to exist when those destruction comes. And so with that, they're going to struggle, and people are not going to have an answer for the troubles being brought by Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. I'll give you one example. Of the wisdom and knowledge of the society that we live in. They have a phrase called MAD, mutually assured destruction. And so with that, two parties have an ICBM, and they say that this ICBM is to protect us. Well, as long as you don't throw your ICBM, we won't throw our ICBM, and we have the power to destroy each other, but we mutually understand that there's no need to really do that. So we'll keep these weapons as a defense, and you just do your thing over there and we'll do our thing over there. That's the way the world operates at the minute. But that is going to go out the window when World War III, the Spirit is put upon these nations to gather in the valley of Yehoshaphat, the Levant in the Middle East. They will gather there for the Battle of Armageddon, World War III. And at that point, the Spirit will definitely be upon these nations to forget about this MAD, mutually assured destruction. So, and especially when the ICBMs start to fly from Russia to America and other nations, from other nations to America, they'll all be shooting upon America. So when that happens, the understanding that we're living under for the last how many years, MAD, mutually assured destruction, and that's going straight in the bin, straight out the window, non-existent anymore. And that's just one example. It says, and blood shall drop out of wood, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled. So, you've got the destruction coming. The understanding of the people is turned upside down. They can't get their heads around what's going on. And it says here, blood shall drop out of wood. When you have, for example, a horror film, and you have a particular scene, a house, for example, where many people are slaughtered and killed, and what you'll find is that the wood or the walls have blood soaked into them. And this is something that's going to be occurring. You're going to have great destruction. You're going to have America, Babylon the Great, the land of Israel completely destroyed, and you're going to have other destruction around the world. Other nations are going to be, under siege, and so on and so forth. You're going to have World War III, the battle going on down in the Middle East, and that's one example of an area where many people will be dying. So there will be, for example, buildings destroyed, rubble, and then when you look at the rubble, when you look at the pieces of wood, when you look at the things around, you're going to find blood splattered, stained, soaked into these particular things, dripping, because people are going to be dying in mass number. It says, the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled. So the stone giving his voice is when, again, these ICBMs, these military power in the Middle East, all these rockets are going off, and the ground is getting pounded with artillery, like I say, nuclear ICBMs, and you're going to hear the rocks, the voice of the rocks. These rocks will be And once they get smashed, they make a great noise. They would be we call landslides. In certain areas where ICBMs are hitting, they'll be causing rocks to slide down mountains. So this will be landslides of rocks. I don't know what the particular phrase is, and this is an example of that. Is what's been written here. It says, and even he shall rule, whom they look not for, that dwell upon the earth. So who dwells upon the earth, and considered the least likely people to rule the earth? The Israelites, because we are situated in all the main ghettos around the world, and we have no particular power. We have no military power. We have no government. We have no particular land in which we can establish ourselves. We know what our home is, but at the minute it's impossible to go there. No matter what you do, no matter how much you build up, how many people, how much money, how much anything else, you're not able to penetrate your own homeland and take it back. So therefore we are scattered, as scriptures tell you. And we are those people who are looked upon on this earth and considered the least likely to rule. And it says here, and even he shall rule after this destruction, whom they look not for, that dwell upon the earth. And the fowls shall take their flight away together. When you have a storm coming, the birds are able to sense it, and then they'll fly away instantly in mass number. It could even startle you, and you'll look up, you'll see the birds all of a sudden just take off, and you know that the storm is present. They can feel it. And it's the same thing with these ICBMs. When these ICBMs are hurtling their way towards Babylon, the Great America, these birds up in the air, they're going to feel the presence of these ICBMs on their way, heading down towards America. And as they get close, it says here, the fowls shall take their flight away together. It says here, and the Sodomitish sea shall cast out fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. And that voice we're hearing is the voice of the destruction. It says here, which many have not known. The last time we had World War One and World War Two, a lot of the people out here alive today have no experience of those times, but you're going to experience that World War Three effect very soon. Jacob's Trouble, then World War Three, the ICBMs, and the sounds of these rockets and this artillery, this military explosions, and so on and so forth. Now, when you go to, so looking at verse 7, makes me want to jump to Revelation chapter 8. So for Revelation chapter 8, I'm going to read the first 11 verses. So I'm going to breeze through the first 10 until we get to the point I want to make. And this is Revelation chapter 8. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before the Most High, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer. And there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints, the elect, upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before the Most High, out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and earthquake. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. And they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees were burnt up, and all the green grass were burnt up. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. So this is all going into the destruction. A mountain burning with fire cast into the sea. This represents these ICBMs hitting various parts of the earth. It says it, and the third part of the sea became blood, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of water. So this is all talking about nuclear ICBM destruction. It says, and the name of the star is called wormwood, bitter, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And so, when you go back to 2nd Esdras, it says, and the Sodomitish sea shall cast out fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. So this is talking about that destruction, the ICBMs. And they will hit various parts of the land, and they will hit parts of the sea. Ships will be destroyed. Some of the sea life will die within the sea with these explosions, and some will cast themselves out. And this is all because of the radioactiveness that comes with the ICBMs. When these destruction takes place, some of the water is going to be radioactive, and so men and women will be trying to drink that water because that's the only possibility of water that they're going to have. Don't forget, people's infrastructure in certain parts of the world are going to be totally blown out. There's going to be no electricity, no water. And once these people drink these particular waters, which are described as wormwood, bitter, this talks about the radioactiveness, it's going to cause death within these people that drink it. So moving on, 2nd Esdras chapter 5 verse 8, it says, there shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be offset out again. So these destruction is not just for America. Also the land of Israel will be totally destroyed, and that will be rebuilt back up in the kingdom of heaven. But then there will be destruction, like I mentioned, all over the earth. You're going to have, for example, World War III in the Levant, and you're going to have, other things take place. You have, for example, at the minute, you've got nations like India and Pakistan. They've had problems with each other, for example, for many years, and these nations will be involved in shooting ICBMs on America. All nations that possess ICBMs will shoot them on America. The Hashem Yahushua will put the spirit on them to do that. But once America's destroyed and the shock, who's not to say that these countries turn on each other and try to finish each other off with artillery, artillery fire, not necessarily ICBMs, but they have other ways. They might just try all-out invasion. So the destruction is going to take place in various parts of the earth, but the main complete all-out desolation is going to be America, the whole land of America, from coast to coast, border to border, Central America, and the land of Israel. But it says here, fire shall be offset out again, to go around the earth and cause different issues. It says, and wild beasts shall change their places, because they will be having to move. Certain places will be destroyed, and you'll see wild animals shifting in great number to move into new parts of land in order to live. It says here, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. So, this refers to women giving birth to disabled babies, deformed babies. This is 9, says here, and salt waters shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. At the minute, we're living in a world where, people struggle to get on. You're seeing simple things nowadays, simple incidents like road rage are escalating. People are shooting at each other over the end of a relationship, so on and so forth. So we're already in a time where people have a lack of understanding towards each other. And, you can't really go out there, accidentally cause somebody a problem and then just laugh it off with a joke and be witty about it. When it comes down to the judgment, the time of Jacob's trouble, and especially World War III, the day of the Lord, people are going to really be out there for themselves. And this is what it's talking about, all friends. Once the destruction takes place in certain places, people are then going to be struggling to eat in the coming days. things would in the kingdom of heaven obviously would be established once America is destroyed, but then it takes time to rebuild certain things and bring back certain infrastructure. So people will be out here looking to eat, and obviously it says here, friends shall destroy one another, then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into its secret chamber. People, like I say, the wit. You get yourself into a scenario, you accidentally prank someone's car by mistake. You get out. It's all cool. End of the day, it's just a materialistic good. You say to the guy, look, we got insurance. I'm sorry, it's my fault. Well, the guy wants to shoot you over a tiny little scratch on his bumper. Nowadays, you go on YouTube, it's very common to find people in road rage. They get into an incident where they're frustrated in the traffic, then they get into road rage, and the result of the scenario is that they ram raid their car out of the road rage, and they bash about 15 cars on the way out. That's the level of intelligence that we're getting to. People, they're not very witty, not very fast on the the old thinking cap out there, and they're more and more just reacting with their instant impulse, because the brain doesn't kick in. The brain doesn't create a thought, a process where it says, oh, you know what, if I ram raid my way out of this road rage incident, the police are going to come and arrest me and my car's totally smashed up, and what is the point? Instead of being able to use a little bit of wit to cool down a scenario and a situation and everybody go about their business, people have lost that. So it's already escalating. But when the time of Jacob's trouble, World War III, and then infrastructure is blown out of the water, so to speak, people are going to lose the wit very fast. It says, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon the earth. One land also shall ask another, and say, is righteousness that maketh a man righteous gone through thee? And it shall say, no. So you have one, when it talks about land, you have one nation asking another nation, do we really need to get into this? And these nations are going to be getting into it. Like I say, there's various nations around the earth that have issues with each other. You're going to have Armageddon, the Battle of World War III is going to kick off the whole scenario. The small hats is going to develop into the destruction of America with nuclear ICBMs. So by this time, the Most High has definitely put the spirit on these leaders to use whatever military power they have, go all out. That MAD, mutually assured destruction, is going to be a complete thing of the past. It won't exist anymore at that point. So nations will be looking at their neighbours and looking to invade and take what they can. It says it is righteousness that maketh a man righteous gone through thee, and it shall say no. And the same time shall men hope, but nothing obtain. They shall labour, but their ways shall not prosper. To show thee such tokens I have leave. And if thou wilt pray again and weep now and fast 7 days, thou shalt hear yet greater things. This is the angel speaking to Ezra. It says, then I awakened, and an extreme fearfulness went through all my body, and my mind was troubled, so that I fainted. And so the angel that was come to talk with me held me, comforted me, and set me up upon my feet. And it's a similar thing that happened to Daniel. He spoke about his changing cogitations, and being deeply distressed once he had this particular vision. I always bring it up. I came to this truth. The Most High, opened up my third eye and showed me, what I now realize was like a 3,000 year event, and showed me the ancestry of the people of the earth going through particular phases through the 3,000 years. Now, I didn't see any particular destruction in the land of America, didn't see any fire or bombs or anything like that, but what he showed me is that when people reach America, the Most High is going to cut them off, and witnessing that particular vision there, it definitely knocks you off your feet. It changes you. You can't just 10 minutes later shake it off and you're going back about your business. It changes your whole persona. it creates a level of anxiety within you, because you've just seen what the Most High is going to do, and he's showing you in His way, in His real, through the third eye, uncut, clean way. So, there's no way that you misunderstand the fearfulness that is coming with the day of the Lord, and that's why I always say, when Yahushua cracks that sky, that same fear, that same spirit is going to cut straight through the soul of 8 billion people on this planet, right down to the core, and people are going to feel it. The elect will be relieved, and they will be praising Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua when that moment occurs. But at the same point, when you first realize that the chariot has appeared, it's going to cut you. What I'm going to say to you, you're going to know when it happens. It's going to cut you through your soul. Just to give you an example, that Esau could create a scenario where he makes a false image of this so-called chariot UFO appear in the sky, and the so-called members of the elect might look up and say, "Oh my God, look, it's that day," but it could just be another lie, basically, by Esau. But you're gonna know, because when it's actually that time, that actual real chariot appears, cracks that sky, and all of a sudden all eyes can see, the first thing you're gonna feel through you, it's gonna reverberate through your soul. You feel the ground. You could be in certain scenarios, you're close to where there are bombs going off, so you're going to feel the ground shake, and you're going to feel the ground shake through your body, and you're going to say, wow, these explosions are powerful. But when the spirit arrives with Yahweh Shai, and it's there, right over there in front of you in the sky, and it's close to you, it's going to cut you through the soul. Everybody's going to feel it, that you're going to be deeply troubled. So moving on here, verse 16, and it says here, verse 16, and in the second night it came to pass that Salathiel, the captain of the people, came unto me, saying, where hast thou been? And why is thy countenance so heavy? That's what it does. It changes you. I'm telling you, you're walking around. All of a sudden, you walk around, you look like you've got a whole heap of problems upon you, and people will say, what happened to you? And you're trying to tell them, you're saying you don't know what I'm. It's hard to obviously instantly explain it. Says, knowest thou not that Israel is committed unto thee in the land of their captivity? So what Salathiel is saying to Ezra is, you're looking distraught, you're looking beaten up, your countenance is heavy. What's wrong with you? You need to perk yourself up, because the people of Israel in captivity need you, because you are the man that tells them, what Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is ultimately on. That's you're their link to the Most High. You ain't got time to be moping around. It says, up then and eat bread, and forsake us not, as the cruel shepherd that leaveth his flock in the hands of cruel wolves. And these cruel wolves are these other nations. And at the minute, it's represented by Esau, the Edomites. It says, then said I unto him, go thy ways from me, and come not nigh me. And he heard what I said, and went from me. And so I fasted 7 days, mourning and weeping, like as Uriel the angel commanded me. And after 7 days, so it was that the thoughts of my heart were very grievous unto me. Because you start to, when the Most High shows you, people, and then he shows you that I'm going to cut them off in great number, and he shows you some of the wickedness that they've done and why they've done it. These are the things that get explained when you have a particular vision. It troubles you, it cuts you, and then you start readdressing the way in which people behave, and you have to look at them from the point of view of the Most High. Because up until that point, you have the understanding of living in this world, and the same understanding that other people of this world have. But when the Most High shows you his understanding, it's a completely different angle, and you have to readdress your mind. That's why the scriptures tell you to be born again. When you come to this truth, you have to forget all the nonsense you learned in this world. which Jake fails to do. They come from Christianity or Roman Catholic Church or so on and so forth, and they've built up this whole understanding of how to be this holy person. They come to the scriptures, and they like I say, they like the idea of being a Hebrew Israelite. They like the idea of being told, you got the next kingdom, and there's a reason why you're living in the squalor that you're living, and so they jump to it. But the Spirit's not really working with them. They don't want to completely forget about all the things that they learned in that Christian church, for example. They come to this understanding of being a Hebrew Israelite, and they bring all the understanding with them. They try to apply it. And they try to, some of them try to follow, all the laws and talk about, the fact that we're following all these laws. That's the same way that the Christian church behave. The scriptures actually tell you that, it's impossible for you to follow all these laws. That's why you need to be saved. You need to be delivered. And you need your body to be changed so you're capable of following the laws of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. And then obviously ultimately with that, be completely righteous. But you see, you've got people out here, Christians, pretending that, they're completely righteous. Oh, but I follow this law and that law, so I'm completely righteous. And so what they do is they come into the understanding of being a Hebrew Israelite, and they think that if they follow all these laws and commandments, that makes them completely righteous. So if that's the case, why do you need to be saved? You're completely righteous, you can follow all these laws, then just live perfectly. But you can't, because you're living in an unrighteous society, and things you are doing automatically make you unrighteous. You just don't know it. Obviously for that you'd have to go into a deeper level. But when you come to this truth, you have to be born again. You have to forget what you've learned previous to this knowledge and start again. You learn things from the perspective of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai through these scriptures, and you have a complete understanding. If the Holy Spirit's working with you, then you will also see prophecy. And this is verse 22 says, "And my soul recovered the spirit of understanding, and I began to talk with the Most High again, and said, O Lord, thou bearest rule of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof. Thou hast chosen the only one vine." So that one particular vine is the nation of Israel. If you look in Ezekiel chapter 17, it talks about that vine of low stature. It says, "And of all the lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit," one particular land, "and of all the flowers thereof one lily. And of all the depths of the sea thou hast filled thee one river. And of all the budded cities thou hast hallowed Sion unto thyself." So, of all the depths of the sea thou hast filled thee with one river. So there's only one particular river that is filled with the living water, that is the nation of Israel. Even though the sea, all these other things have water, but it's one particular river that the Most High has filled, and that's the nation of Israel with the Holy Spirit. And it says, "And of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove, and of all the cattle that are made, thou hast provided thee one sheep, and among all the multitudes of people thou hast gotten thee one people, and unto this people whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law that is approved of all. And now, O Lord, why hast thou given this one people over unto many, and upon the one root hast thou prepared others? And why hast thou scattered thy only one people among many?" And so that's what it is, Esdras had this particular vision, this understanding. He was troubled, he was changed, and he had questions. And so one of them was, these people, they had these laws and commandments. They were your people. You chose them, and you made them a great people with your, laws and statutes. And yet you scattered them, and you've given them over to other people. You put them into captivity under these other nations, and that's obviously what we're under today. We're still under that particular time. And they which did gainsay thy promises and believe not thy covenants have trodden them down. These other nations that try to debunk. Out here, for example, we're out here now, we're giving you this truth of these scriptures, and these other people come against us and try to debunk the truth that we give you. and ultimately they're all wrong. They're just fishing for gaps to try and highlight that maybe this isn't the truth, but yet they're finding it impossible. But yet the Most High has given them the power to tread us down, and they have done throughout these previous captivities that we've been in. It says, if thou didst so much hate thy people, yet shouldest thou punish them with thy own hands. And why is it that you've given it to them, our people, to them to be punished? You could not punish them in a different particular way directly. It says, now when I had spoken these words, the angel that came to me the night afore was sent unto me. It says, I had another visit, and said unto me, hear me, and I will instruct thee. Hearken to the thing that I say, and I shall tell thee more. So, that is the book of 2nd Ezra, verses 1 to 32. I'll leave it there, and I'll come back with a part 2, 33 down to the end. I hope that was edifying. Until next time, all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kwadash. Until next time, Shalom.